So the shortlist is here. Hi and welcome to my channel. I'm Øystein and I'm trying to become a bookworm. In today's video we are going to take a look at the recent release of the Booker Prize shortlist for 2021. Not that long ago I made a video about the long list where I took the candidates for the prize and went through which books I thought I would like and which books I thought maybe would go to the next round. In this video we'll see if my predictions were correct, and we'll see which books are shortlisted. And also, if you stay to the end of this video, I'll also try and guess myself to which book is going to win this award. That might be interesting. I'll start with a quote from the jury this year. With so many ambitious and intelligent books before us, the judges engage in rich discussion not only about the qualities of any given title, but often about the purpose of fiction itself. We are pleased to present a shortlist that delivers as wide a range of original stories as it does voices and styles. Maya Jasnoff, chair of the 2021 Booker Prize judges. That tells us something about what has gone through the judges' heads when they're trying to decide which books are going through to the next round, and that might be useful when we're later going to take a look at the books that actually are shortlisted. I thought I'd now go through the 5 books that were my favorites for the Booker Prize. The first book was Bewilderment by Richard Powers, which seemed not to be a book that was meant for this prize, because it seemed like sort of a sci-fi book, and I don't really think of the Booker Prize as being a prize that includes a lot of sci-fi books. At number 2 I had A Town Called Solace by Mary Lawson. It was an okay reading experience, but nothing more. And at number 3 we had No One Is Talking About This by Patricia Lockwood, and this one seemed to have a very interesting plot, so that's why I chose this one. The next one is Claron the Sun by Kazu Ishiguro, because this book was very, very popular amongst the people I know, and because he's a very famous author which has won the Nobel Prize for Literature. And at number 5 we have An Island by Karen Jennings. My feeling about that book was that it was the most easy book to get a grip of. I don't think any of these books are simple. That book seemed to be the one that spoke to the non-reader in me the most, and thus one of the most interesting to read. It sounds weird, but this is the kind of stuff I think about. And now over to the actual shortlist. The 6 books that are nominated still for the Booker Prize for 2021. And the first one again is No One Is Talking About This by Patricia Lockwood. Of course this book is one of the ones I read. It's a weird one. It's about a woman trapped in social media, is my understanding of it. And at one point she goes through something big in her life that makes her sort of snap out of it. That's also my understanding of it. And the reason I say that it's my understanding of it is because this is a very complicated and chaotic book to read. It was a short read, so the pages went by fairly quickly. As you can see here, there's sort of a Twitter style reading. These small quotes through, especially the first half of the book. It gets more and more serious throughout the book. This book was not for me. It's too complicated, or I made it complicated. That's difficult to tell, but it was very funny, extremely funny at times, because it was so accurate in the way Patricia described internet things. So I could recognize too much of this book in myself at times. And that was hilarious. And I did not expect that at all. As an earlier non-reader, I thought this is the kind of book that gets awards. Because it's very refreshing. It's very, to me at least, very new. It's written in a special way that I haven't read before. It was very engaging, but still not for me. Number 2. Bewilderment by Richard Powers again, which was on my wish list because it seemed like a different kind of book. The astrobiologist Theo Byrne searches for life throughout the cosmos while single-handedly raising his unusual 9-year-old Robin. Robin is a warm, kind boy who spends hours painting elaborate pictures of endangered animals. He's also about to get expelled from 3rd grade for smashing his friend in the face. As his son grows more troubled, Theo hopes to keep him off psychoactive drugs. He learns of an experimental neurofeedback treatment to bolster Robin's emotional control, one that involves training the boy on the recorded patterns of his mother's brain. This book is described as being sci-fi but also about love. This is the book I'm likely to read from this list, so I sort of hope that will go a long way. At number 3 we have A Passage North by Anouk Arud-Pragasam. The book is described as trying to come to terms with the 30-year-old civil war in Sri Lanka, and I thought I'd share a quote from the jury. We had to find a place on the shortlist for A Passage North in which Anouk Arud-Pragasam turns his poetic sensibility and profound meticulous attentiveness to the business of living in the aftermath of trauma. Of course, this seems to be one of the books on the list that are very important, but it's not really my cup of tea, I think. Of course, it being on the list, it has to be written in a very good way. I don't think I'm there yet to read novels about civil war and devastating stuff. I think I'll go over to the next one. On number 4 we have The Fortune Men by Nadifa Muhammad. The book is about a petty criminal in Cardiff who gets wrongly accused of murder. And now I'll share a quote from the jury. In the story of Mahmoud Matten, a Somali sailor accused of murder, Nadifa Muhammad creates a story as local as it is exhilaratingly global. Grippingly paced and full of complex, richly drawn characters, the novel combines pointed social observation with a deeply empathetic sensibility. So I just said that the book about Sri Lankan war was too real for me in a way, and I don't know, but I find this plot more engaging, but still a very serious book. And at number 5 we have The Promise by Damon Galgut. I have to say that this book I sort of struggle gripping what it's actually about. In Damon Galgut's deft, powerful story of a diminished family and a troubled land, brutal emotional truths hit home. The narrator's eye shifts and blinks, deliciously lethal in its observation of the crash and burn of a white South African family. On their farm outside Pretoria, the Swartz are gathering for mass funeral. The younger generation detests everything the family stands for, not least the failing promise to the black woman who has worked for them her whole life. After years of service, Salome was promised her own house, her own land, yet somehow, as each decade passes, that promise remains unfulfilled. The book is set in South Africa. It seems like a family drama. The book is supposed to shift perspectives from different family members when the family is crashing and burning. Also picked a quote from the jury here. The Promise is an expansive family novel that explores the interconnected relationship between members of one family through the sequential lens of multiple funerals. It's supposed to be a very powerful novel, but I don't think it is for me. And lastly, on the shortlist for the 2021 Booker Prize, we have Great Circle by Maggie Shipstead. The book is about a female aviator that vanishes in the 50s, and half a century later, a scandalous actress tries to find out what happened to her. A book of tremendous narrative ambition and scale. Great Circle pulled us into its vividly created worlds, from Prohibition-era Montana to wartime Britain to present-day Hollywood, and made us want to dwell in them indefinitely. I think this is maybe the novel that has grown on me since last time. I'm sort of thinking that I might try to read this as well, but I can't really decide yet. I'm sort of sorry to say this, but with its 600 pages, I'm sort of scared to be disappointed if I don't like the novel, because I really like to finish books. So these were the actual shortlisters for the Booker Prize 2021. The books I chose were the books I thought were the most interesting, and the books that are actually on the shortlist seems to have a very high degree of sadness and seriousness. And that's all fine, but it's not the books that I immediately think that I want to read. But maybe that's the whole point. The biggest surprise for me was that Claron the Sun wasn't shortlisted, and that's based on nothing. I just thought that very famous author, very popular book, talked about AI, might be interesting for the Booker Prize. So who will win this prize? Of course, I don't know, but I'll sort of have to guess. And I have this gut feeling about this one book. I think the book that is going to win this year's Booker Prize is going to be The Fortune Men by Nadifa Mohammed. And it's just a feeling. I have no clue, just my instincts. Which so far hasn't worked that well. But at least now, if I'm correct, victory! Thank you for watching this very uneducated walkthrough of these shortlisted books. If you like the content, please consider subscribing to my channel. I will be making more of these uneducated videos until I'm educated. And I'll see you next time. Thank you for watching. Bye!